Hi and welcome everyone to our first Storengy UK webinar, our autumn update. So this is an opportunity for you guys to hear a little bit about our business and our upcoming auctions. There's a couple of opportunities throughout the session for you guys to ask questions and please submit any feedback for us as well, because it's an opportunity for us to really give to you guys what you need next time we do this. So just to start with a little bit about our vision and kind of, we want to be at the top of being a sustainable provider and storage solution, and it's really important to us that we really work on this over the next 5 years. So we split our vision into 3 key areas. The first one is enhancing our organisation. This is really focused on how do we maintain uptime, how do we keep our plant reliable, and a real focus on our operations and maintenance team. It's also about increasing the capacity and capability of our team to deliver for the future, to deliver for the site, and to do more with the resources that we have today. Most importantly, it's about continuing our excellence in health and safety and in process safety. Our next pillar is around green gas diversification, and you'll hear a little bit about this from the guys later on. But this is about looking to the future, about securing our assets' viability for the long term, focusing really on biogas, biomethane and hydrogen. This is focusing on how do we use our asset in the future, how do we store blends of these gas in salt caverns, and how do we produce these gases to use in our solutions going forward. And you'll hear about one of these with our Vanguard mobility solution that Ben Warren Lilly will present later on. Our final pillar and one of our most important is around being a low carbon stub latch site, so a low carbon asset. And we've committed to try and be, we have committed to be carbon neutral by 2025 for our own use, gas and electric. This means monitoring our losses during outages and maintenance, but also introducing measures to reduce our base loads and the gas and electricity that we use while delivering for our customers and also delivering for ourselves. Kind of a bit of a slightly odd one it might seem, but I just want to talk to you for a minute about our recently launched Responsible Business Board. And this is really a board focused on holding the business to account for a wide range of KPIs that we have developed over the last few years. We've got a diverse board with a wide range of experiences from CBEs, MBEs, professors, councillors, and most importantly, some of our own staff on that board as well, to hold me and the business to account about how we treat our people, how we treat our community, how we treat our customers, our environment and our supply chain. And we want to be a leader in this area. So we launched this on the 1st of September and 2020. And in September 2021, we will publish our annual public report that will be available to everyone to download and look at. We feel this is a really positive drive for the business, and we'd welcome any feedback on this as well. You can take a look on our website, and you can take a look on our Twitter and LinkedIn feeds as well. So just before I hand over to Robin for the first bit of update, again, any questions or any feedback is absolutely welcome. We really want to improve on what we provide to you today, so please, that would be fantastic.
Morning everyone. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Robin Cannings. I'm the Marketing Manager at Storengy UK. I'm here to talk to you today about our products for storage years 2021 and 2022. But before I do that, just a reminder, as Mike has just given you, that we will be holding a Q&A at the end of this, so if you can put forward any questions as I'm talking through the live question feed, then we will pick them up at the end of mine and Alex's presentations and try and answer everything we can. If you've got any questions and you feel that, don't worry about if your question may be answered during the presentation. Pump the questions in, ask us now, and we will happily repeat later on if we need to. So just to get us started, I thought we'd give you a quick update on where we are on development of the plant in 2020. Obviously, COVID has had an impact, but we're pleased to say that we now have all 20 caverns up running. That gives us 400 MCM of storage capacity. On the above surface installation, we've got 2 dehydration trains, additional compressors, and we should complete the commissioning of phase 2, which is the end of this project, at the end of this month. Now, this hasn't been a small project by any means. We've spent £0.6 billion to put this thing together. There's been no public funding. This has all been NG and Storengy taking the risk to put a flexibility asset on the market. And what it's left us with is the UK's largest and newest gas storage site. Now, admittedly, gas storage market hasn't been great at times, so we have had to write down, as many people have in this industry, but we're still focused on delivering the best products that we can to give you the most flexibility in the market and hopefully meet all your requirements. So to that end, here's the update on our products. So this is a slide that some of you will have seen before or very similar to it. This is a description of our 30/30 product. So what is a 30/30 product? Basically, you have a chunk of capacity, so in this example, 300 gigawatt hours, and on any given day, you can flow up to a 30th of that in injection or withdrawal. Our site's connected to the national transmission system, so direct to the MBP, you can flow your gas off the network into the storage or back onto the network from the storage. And we do that with a very fast cycle site, so we've got 1 hour scheduling. We have no restrictions in terms of the stock level, so on any day of the year, assuming there is no maintenance, then you can flow what it says on the tin, effectively. We keep our costs as low as we can, and I'll come on to that later on. And we don't limit the number of flow reversals that you've got. So as you can see from the graph in the bottom left, that's an actual flow from a customer. They start an injection and then reversed into a withdrawal by the end of the day. And that's the flexibility that we're offering on this site. As I mentioned, maintenance, we keep that maintenance as low as we can. And this year we're looking at 15 real days planned maintenance and 5 days unplanned maintenance. And that's applied across all contracts. Nobody gets more, nobody gets less. And where possible, we minimize it by using single direction. So if we only need to reduce injection, we will only reduce injection. And finally, I will spend a little bit of time at the end of this presentation to introduce you to our customer interface. But we built this together with customers, and we feel it's a real asset to our products. So what changes have we got this year? Because I wouldn't be standing here if it was just a 30/30 product again. So we've now come under the new tariff regime, the GCR, gas charging review, implemented on the 1st of October, and that's having an impact on everyone. But to sort of minimize the impact on our customers, we know that if we transfer you our legacy capacity, then you are at risk of the revenue recovery charge. So what we propose to do this year is to implement virtualization of our entry capacity. So what we've done in the past is, when you've asked to withdraw gas, we would withdraw gas to our connection point, at which point it's transferred to yourselves and you would move it onto the MBP and then move it onto whatever destination you have in mind. What we propose to do now is Storengy UK will move your gas to the NBP and transfer it there. At that point, you can then move it where you like, but this will remove that risk of the revenue recovery charge. There are a few benefits. We should be able to match your delivery nominations, warn if there's a mismatch, and massively reduce any overruns. In fact, it should totally remove overruns. But on the exit side, that will remain as normal. Okay. Second change. So this is around the costs. So right now, our costs for storage year 2020 are 0.5 pence per therm for a full cycle, so to inject and withdraw. These costs are not revenue based. They're not intended to generate revenue. They are the costs for us to move the gas in and out of the site, averaged over a year, admittedly, but we try and keep them to, as close as we can, the exact cost that we're spending. So what we're proposing to do this year is try and reduce these costs. We don't have a final figure now, but what we have got on screen is the proposed figures. So what we would like to do is try and reduce these costs to about 0.4 pence per therm. Now that sounds like a small quantity. It should have an impact, but obviously we've got the gas charging review impact as well. And as you can see from the charts, I can see them ahead of me, so I shall not point. As you can see from the charts that we've got on the slide, the national grid exit capacity cost, so the cost to inject into our site, is now at 0.3 pence per therm, pretty much. That's a significant increase, and it puts us at 0.7 pence per therm, and that's with the 50% storage discount. Unfortunately, as you know, we haven't yet, or as you may know, we put forward a modification for an 80% storage discount. Now, what I've got on screen now is the exact same slide, but with the figures under that 80% storage discount. And we're hoping Ofgem will approve this discount. And as you can see from these figures, a reduction in the variable costs, as we've mentioned, plus the 80% storage discount should put us around the same level that we are right now. Unfortunately, we don't have any timescale on that, but as soon as we do, we will share. But hopefully Ofgem will make that decision shortly. Okay, so in terms of additional capacity services, we've got three that I'd like to mention today. The first one's ULI, which is interruptible capacity services. So this is where you as a storage customer can effectively borrow capacity from other customers. If another customer is not using it, then you can pay a small charge to allow you to use that capacity via nomination. It's interruptible, so if that customer that you're effectively borrowing from increases their nomination, then you will be cut back, and you will only be charged on the total amount that's flowed through the day. The second service that I wanted to mention was the unbundled capacity. So this is a firm service. You can log into our commercial system, click and book the quantity that you need, and it is immediately added to your rights for that day. But because of this, that quantity and price is fixed. So once you've taken it, you can't hand it back. But this is quite a popular service, particularly on those busy days on the market when additional capacity comes in handy. And the final one to mention is the operating margins service. So this is a bespoke service, and it allows you to physically respond to National Grid's operating margins call if they make one. It does require an additional contract, but if you are interested in that, I would ask you to get in contact with us in advance of the auctions to make sure you're comfortable with what that entails. Finally, as I mentioned, we've come on to the customer interface. Just to give you a quick overview of what it provides. It's obviously a web-based system. It works on both mobile and web browsers. It allows you immediate confirmation of your nominations. If your nomination doesn't fit within your rights for that day, it will suggest what the best you can do is. It allows this quick booking of additional capacities, and there's reporting in there to allow you to see exactly how much you are spending on any given day. So that was a very quick overview. We're more than happy for you to come back to us and ask any questions. Please fire your questions into the live question facility as well, and we'll try and get them answered at the end of Alex's presentation. But for now, I'll hand over to Alex to talk you through our auctions.
Hi everyone, I'm Alex. I'm just going to give you an overview of the auctions, how to submit bids, and where to find information. Hopefully this presentation will answer many of your questions, but as Robin mentioned, we will be holding a short question and answer session at the end of this presentation, so please do feel free to submit your questions through the webinar while I'm speaking. Just moving on to the first slide. So as you can see from the slide, our auctions will be held in mid-November. As soon as we know the date, we will announce that date, so that will be available through an email notification, and we'll also add that to our website as well within the auctions section. There will be two auctions. The first will be for a 2-year product, so that's from April 2021 to April 2023. And the second will be for a 1-year product, so that's from April 2021 to April 2022. Both of those auctions will be on the same day, with one in the morning and one in the afternoon. So the first one, The auction window for that will be from 11 AM to 12 midday UK time, and that is for the 2-year product. Within that, 870 gigawatt hours of storage space will be available, so that's 29 bundles. The second auction in the afternoon, the window for that will be from 1 PM till 2 PM UK time. That will be for a 1-year product. We will have at least 1.3 terawatt hours of storage space available within that auction, and potentially up to 2.2 terawatt hours depending on how successful the first auction is. So somewhere between 43 and 72 bundles will be available in that second auction. Both auctions will be pay as bid. As you may have come across in previous auctions, companies can submit up to 3 bids for each auction. Each bid that you submit must be on a different submission form, and each bid that you submit will be treated as a completely separate bid, so it won't be dependent on other bids that you've made. All bids need to be submitted by an authorised representative of the company, which you need to notify us of in advance. There is a reserve price on the auctions. We use that for internal purposes in our decision making, but we don't release that for external parties. I just move on to the next slide. So this is an example of a bid submission form. So this is actually the one for the 2-year contract. As you can see, it's fairly straightforward to fill in. All you need to do is enter the company details, enter the contact details for whoever's submitting the bids. Please enter the maximum number of bundles that you're looking to bid for, and also potentially the minimum number of bundles you would accept at the price that you're bidding at. And then obviously enter a price per bundle for that bid as well. For the 2-year contract, what we're looking for is just the one price, so that will cover both years. So the same price for each of those 2 years. And once you've completed all that part of the form, all you need to do is just sign the form and email it across to us. Let's move on to the next slide. So within the auction window itself, you would need to send the bids to our auction email address, so that's auction@storengy.co.uk. Upon receipt of the bids, we will send a confirmation, but unfortunately we won't be able to give any further feedback during the auction window. No bids will be accepted outside of the relevant auction window, and upon submitting a bid, you are actually confirming your acceptance of the contractual term should you be successful. So please do go to our website and review the contractual documents prior to making any bids to make sure you're happy with those terms. Bidders will be notified whether or not they've been successful within 45 minutes of the auction window's closing. And please note that if you do have any queries, please try to submit them before the auction window starts, as we're probably going to be unable to answer queries during the auction window itself. Just move on to the next slide. So this is where you can find all the relevant information. So all the information will be available on our website, which is at www.storengy.co.uk. And if you look on our home page, a short way down that page, you will also find a sub-menu called Products and Services. And the left-hand box of that is Storage Products. So if you go into that, you will find all the details around our products and contracts. So within that, there's various sub-menus. So Auctions 2020, which is where we'll post all of the relevant information for the auctions, including the contracts. But you may also be interested in some of the other menus as well. So Standard Products and Contracts, Services, Nemo, and Maintenance. Also on this slide, I've provided a link to our Nemo login page. Now, Nemo is the system that our customers use to place their nominations for our site. Only customers can actually log into Nemo, but if you go into the login page, you can see that there's some information that's available for anyone to be able to see. So there's 2 menus at the top of that page. The first one is the bulletin board, which is where our customers are able to post adverts to be able to buy or sell gas in store or buy or sell capacity. And the second menu is for transparency. So within that, you'll have details of maintenance, urgent market messages, unavailability, and site movements. Just move on to the next slide. So the next steps. Following this webinar, we will make this available on our website shortly. We are expecting our contractual documents to be available on the website by the end of this week. So when they are set up on the website, they will be under the Auctions 2020 menu. And following the announcement of our auction date, we will also include the auction documents on our website. We invite parties to register their interest in the auctions to make sure they receive the relevant notifications. And if you can do that by just sending an email to auction@storengy.co.uk, we're very grateful. We will also be inviting interested parties to register their authorised representatives prior to the auction. So details around how to do that will be included in the auction documents. So I'd like to thank you very much for watching this presentation. Hope to have answered many of your questions, but as I say, we're due to be going onto a question and answer session in a moment, and I'll just welcome back my colleague Robin.
Hi there. Right, so we've had a few questions come in, so we'll try and answer these as they come through. And thank you very much. Please do keep typing. If you're in the middle of typing, get those questions through to us. So the first question here, I've got, will there be additional opportunities to purchase capacity for storage year 21, or will the facility be fully booked after these auctions? So the capacity that we're releasing for 2021 is the total capacity available for remaining capacity that's available for 2021. In all honesty, it depends if the offers are at our reserve price or above. If they're not, then obviously we will look to roll the capacity on. But ideally, yes, we would like to sell all of our capacity for 2021 in this auction. Next question. Any plan to move to a pay-as-cleared mechanism and transparency on the bid curve associated to, similar to Storengy France in coming years? Right now, we don't have any plans to do that. A lot of our focus this year has been on trying to improve the methodology for the auction. Alex, you've looked at some of the processes. Do you want to just go through the changes again for the registration?
Yes, so as I say, this year we are looking for all parties to notify us in advance if they're interested in the auctions, just to make sure we do definitely send out all the various notifications that you need for those. And we're also asking parties to register authorised representatives for submitting bids as well. So as I say, details of that will be in the auction documents as soon as we post them online.
Yeah, and that hopefully will make things a little bit faster in terms of turning around the bids, getting the responses out for you. But we will obviously keep considering whether or not we can move to a pay-as-cleared solution. But right now, the methodology that we're following works for the majority of our customers, I believe. Okay, next question. Quite simple one. How many bids can we submit for the auction?
So as I mentioned in the presentation, each company can submit up to 3 bids for each auction.
Okay. And, okay, maybe I wasn't particularly clear on this one. So what are real and contractual maintenance days? So when we talk about real maintenance days, we're talking about effectively the whole site being shut down. And for the purposes of the contract, what we talk about is total days of injection, total days of withdrawal. So for example, if we lose 50% of injection for a day and we have 100% of withdrawal, then that's half a contractual day of maintenance. I'm confusing myself now. Have I got that right? Yeah. So it's half a contractual day of maintenance, but it's a quarter of a real day. Okay. Let's check. When do we expect feedback or decision from Ofgem in terms of discount for the storage capacity? In all honesty, we're hoping for it as soon as possible. I believe it's the 3rd of January that they have to give a response. But
yes,
we
right.
really, really appreciate it if they can get that answer out sooner. I mean, obviously, the uncertainty about when this will apply from is going to impact the potential for revenue generation. It's going to impact the way that you can trade on the market. So, yeah, as soon as possible. If they're listening, then that would be great. Okay. Okay, it's got that one. Are there any plans for further expansion of the site? Right now, in the current market, it's just not supported. There's insufficient support in the market, in the prices, in in the sort of levels of investment that we can see to really make it worthwhile. So they're coming in faster and faster. I'll try and keep up. Have you considered moving to the auction process? Considered moving the auction process to Prisma? It's not something we've considered. Certainly appreciate the idea. I mean, it's something we can certainly take a look at. I think for these auctions, we wouldn't be able to move it this quickly, but it's certainly something we can take a look at. Is the higher cycle cost a result of moving withdrawal delivery to NBP? No. Okay, so on the cycle cost, we are reducing our cycle cost, or the intent is to reduce our cycle cost. The result of the increase in the cycle cost is due to the increase in exit capacity charge for National Grid. Previously, exit was booked off-peak and was free. Unfortunately, under the new rules, the gas charging review, even with a 50% discount, that's roughly 0.3 pence per therm. Okay, I think we've got through. Okay, one last one. You're auctioning products for 2 storage years in the auctions. Can we bid for both years separately? Can we submit a different price for each of the years? That's one for you, Alex.
So again, as I mentioned in the presentation, what we're looking for is just one price, which will be the same for both of the 2 years. So we won't allow bids to be submitted separately for the 2 years, or indeed for you to actually submit bids just for the 1 year within that first auction. It's either both years or none for that first auction.
Okay, just a quick refresh. Don't think we've had any more. But by all means, if you do have any more questions, keep putting them into the system. We will be able to pick them up afterwards and respond directly if we need to. Okay, so have you got the click it now? We're just moving on to the next one. So, okay, I think that's everybody. Yeah, all the questions are done. So now we'll hand over to Benoit and Lily to give you an overview of our green gases.
So good morning. Lily and myself are going to present you Storengy's activities around low carbon solutions. As you know, or as you may be aware, Storengy currently stores natural gas in the caverns. Natural gas is mainly a fossil fuel and is used for heat. So what we are looking at developing is heat solutions which are low carbon. In fact, those solutions are about geothermal energy, biomethane, and hydrogen. Okay, thank you. So I will start with geothermal here. So when we talk about geothermal, we are talking about shallow geothermal energy, which is less than 500 meters deep in the UK. The idea is to build on our strengths at what we have been doing with the subsurface expertise when developing storage and operating storage, and to use the heat from the ground to heat the buildings. It can be a regeneration of former buildings or new build, and this can deliver schemes about 2 megawatt or more. In France, we have a number of schemes about 2 megawatt heating and cooling. We are also looking at similar schemes in the UK, waiting for the future of the incentive regime. Currently, the RHI is going to be replaced soon, and we hope to have a number of opportunities for that. So this heat from the ground is providing quite a reliable and renewable heat, and it is a good source of baseload energy, we believe. It can be ideally topped up with a gas boiler running on biomethane, which can be used for the coldest winter days. So for the days when you require a lot of heat, then you can top it up with a bit of biomethane. And Lily is now going to present you the biomethane energy.
Yes, so Storengy, you may be aware of, is present in 3 other regions. So we are present in France, but also in Germany. So biogas in France, as you can see on this slide, Storengy has a joint venture with NG Green. So NG is Storengy parent company. So in France, we operate 14 of those anaerobic digestion plants, which make us the second largest AD portfolio in France. This market is very important for Storengy in France, and therefore we are trying to be involved in this market in the UK now. So this is a green gas fuel that we are trying to implement through our expertise back in France. And we have some supporting mechanisms that are coming up in 2021 through the Green Gas Support Scheme that will hopefully help us move into that market. So biogas or the production of biomethane is a renewable fuel, and we are then moving into hydrogen for the next market. And I will pass over to Benoit to tell us a little bit more about our hydrogen underground storage studies.
Thank you, Lily. So over the past few years, we've been looking at a number of studies on how to store hydrogen, let's say the gas of the future, in salt caverns. In the UK, we've taken part to two studies called Centurion and High Secure, part funded by the government. Those studies have been looking at repurposing existing caverns for some of them and creating new builds. This is something we consider for the future. So the capability of each cavern is quite huge. I mean, the studies have concluded that we will be not only able to store it, but that will be a cost-competitive way to do it with 40,000 megawatt hour of energy under the form of hydrogen stored in each of the caverns with a durability of 50 megawatt, which is quite huge if you compare to a standard size electric battery storage of 250 for the largest utility scale batteries. So this gave us a lot of hope, and we will certainly look at the development of that. So next step for us on hydrogen cavern is a pilot project in a small cavern in France that we are going to develop next year, and certainly we'll look at a similar project in the UK going forward.
Okay, so I am going to move on to explain you the Project Vanguard, which is a demonstrator project that we are doing with the Cheshire East Council. But before I move on, I forgot to mention that if you do have any question, we are also running a Q&A session after this fairly short presentation. So please don't hesitate to add them on to the chat box, and we will pick them up after I explain a little bit about Project Vanguard. So this is a partnership with the Cheshire East Council. This is a demonstrator project for the production, the storage, and the distribution of green hydrogen. So green hydrogen, we are going to produce it through the electrolysis process and the solar panel installation at the Environment Hub in Middlewich. So it is important to mention maybe that green hydrogen will generate RTFC, so Renewable Transport Fuel Certificates, that you will be able to purchase through this. So the actual project is looking at the conversion of two refuse bin trucks for Hydrogen Council, for the Cheshire East Council, sorry, that you will be able to see live in Middlewich throughout the first quarter of 2021. So we are going to store this hydrogen that is going to be produced during the day through the solar PV, and we can use it for fueling those vehicles as well as one of Storengy owned vehicles. Maybe we are going to showcase a small videos for you to see this project and have a little bit more detail onto this. And if you have any question also related to RTFCs or any question related to this project, please do not hesitate to contact me. You've got my email address on this slide.
So we've got a few questions here. The first one is, will hydrogen be stored at Storengy? So this is certainly possible in the future. Our next step, as I explained, is a cavern in France, and Storengy will potentially follow once the conditions are right, meaning the right subsidy regime, because obviously this is not yet something that we can do just based on market prices. We'll need to adjust as well the business rates. At the moment, it's clearly blocking us from investing any further in this asset. But yes, certainly this is something we look forward to doing. Thank you. Another question, will biomethane be created at the plant? So we are indeed looking at biomethane site. I think Lily can tell you a bit more.
Yeah, so certainly the creation of biomethane on Storengy site is something we are looking at. Obviously, this process will require a lot of feedstock, and this is not an easy process to develop. So we are currently looking at the potential of having an AD plant at Storengy, but this is part of many other opportunities that we are looking at in the wider UK market.
Okay, and the last question is for you as well, Lily. It's on Vanguard. You mentioned RTFC. Will there be an opportunity to buy those RTFCs, those renewable transport fuel certificates?
Yeah, so absolutely. Those RTFCs are going to be development RTFCs because they are produced, as I mentioned, through the production of green hydrogen. So we expect the solar PVs, depending on the capacity, to produce between 10,000 and 15,000 RTFCs a year. Development RTFCs. So if you are interested in buying some of those, please do not hesitate to contact me in the email address that we provided just earlier in the previous slides.
Thank you, Lily. I think that was it from the question list. So I will now hand over to Michael Gibson for the conclusion. Next part.
All right, so I just wanted to kind of finish off with a bit of an example of one of the things we're looking at for our low carbon stublatch program. So we're investing this year and next year into a 2 megawatt private wired solar installation that will sit next to our current asset. This will complement our green energy procurement that we've started from January 2021, and it will more than cover our base load. I think for us, it's an exciting project, and it's a great way to start and to demonstrate our commitment to really becoming a carbon neutral asset for the future. So just as a closing, thank you to everybody who's dialed in and watched us live, and thank you to those of you who will watch us again on Catch Up. I should have started with, this is the first time, certainly for me and for the guys here, that we've spoken just into a camera and not to a real audience. So, please be gentle in any feedback that you provide back to us, but do give us some feedback. If you've got any questions that we haven't had time to answer, or that you don't feel have answered sufficiently, again, submit them through to us, and we will endeavour to get back to all of you on those. Finally, a big thank you to Louise Mason. She helped us to put this webinar together. Fortunately, she's gone on maternity leave, so we wish her all the best for that, and hopefully she's watched the fruits of her labour. So again, thank you very much, and we will speak to you all soon, hopefully. Thank you.